So today we're going to talk about real-time event streaming. I'll first introduce real-time event streaming, and then I'll hand it off to Ajeta to talk about Azure Stream Analytics and our new and shiny event streams that we've released in Microsoft Fabric. And then she'll do a great demo that will show you what we're doing in that space. So in the last 25 years, there's been a paradigm shift in the way that we access and consume information. You as integrators and technologists and business decision makers have responsibility for understanding how do we move in that space in real time and making sure that we don't become complacent with the old ways of doing things. Your complacency means that you're losing business opportunity. There's been an evolution in information access and consumption. Just as in the consumer world that has undergone a paradigm shift in the last 2 decades, so has the enterprise world been moving and changing with profound transformation. The shift to cloud computing has enabled businesses to connect with customers, partners, and suppliers. The Internet of Things has gained momentum, enabling the automation of devices and machines. And this explosion of data has generated by these interactions has created unprecedented opportunities for businesses to gain insights and make better decisions. But it's not just about that. It's not about what you do with that data, but how fast you react to that data. That's where your business opportunity will come. For this paradigm shift has led to how we need to handle data consumption in the cloud. And so we've been used to, in the past few decades, batch processing. We had mainframes pushing out files, going to FTP servers or going to blob stores, and then you access that data. Files get produced once a week, or then it got faster, it went to once a day, and then hourly. But as you access that data, it's already old. Right? So that data that you're looking at, you're going to go and process on is already in the past. So you want to start thinking about processing before persistence. On the fly, as the data is coming through, you want to be able to transform that data. You want to be able to decode that data and be able to do all your interesting work on that data in the fly before it gets persisted. In-flight content-based routing, with all you guys being BizTalk people, you understand what content-based routing is, but you want to be able to do that in flight. As you start thinking about event meshes and you want to get your events closest to the places where people actually do the work on those events, or only getting the data that they need to see, being efficient in how you transfer that data and where they get access to it. You want to be efficient in how you store the data. There's a lot of noise and garbage in your data that some folks may not be interested in. You want to be able to distribute it across sets of tables or sets of different storage accounts that different people have access to. Predictive and window analytics. So as the data comes in, you want to make sure that you're working on this live data, because now you can have your business opportunity where you're thinking about what's happened to the state of this service, device, machine in the last 5 minutes. Right? So let's say my refrigerator is going over 50 degrees for the last 5 minutes. If it goes over 50 degrees for 15 minutes, I've lost all the contents in that refrigerator, and I have to throw it away, and I've just lost money for my business. You want to be able to do anomaly detection. There's noise in your system as events come in. You're getting weird events that come in. You want to throw those away, because it's really about the collection of that data. You want to be able to do aggregation on that data, so then you have an understanding and materialized views of that data, so then you can understand the behaviors of your systems. If you're not working on the data now and you're doing these kind of real-time predictive events, then you're doing root cause analysis of what happened. Why did I lose my money? Why did my train crash? Why did I lose a truck that's now messed up my supply chain? Instead, you want to be able to do predictive analytics so that you can pull that truck off the line before it becomes a problem. You want to be able to have somebody go and maintain that refrigerator before you lose the product in that refrigerator. And then immediacy, right? So you want to be able to act on that data now, right? In less than 3 seconds, less than 1 second, be able to react to that data. But enterprises are still being behind in consuming and getting value in that data in real time. Why? Today, you have the opportunity and the power to actually work in real time. Events are being generated from everywhere all the time. So all these events are accessible to you. You just have to take advantage of them. Our ability to handle torrents of events has been enabled with event hubs as being your ingestion engine for all your events. Right? Event hubs handles the backend for GitHub, right? All of GitHub. Right? So that's gigabytes of events per second that's going through that system. So I don't think you guys will have that problem. If some of you do, come see me. We want to see that. And you saw earlier today where the London Stock Exchange was relying on event hubs to do their interactions for foreign exchange transactions on their dealing systems. Advantage of cloud scale. So with cloud scale, now you can do all your processing in containers and functions and serverless workloads at the cloud scale. Even though all these events are coming in at gigabytes per second, you can now handle that in the cloud world. And then reacting to events in real time. You want to be able to, instead of just putting those events into another storage account that gets looked at later, actually react to those events. You have Stream Analytics that can then react to those events and do something interesting with them. In Azure, I picked this pattern on purpose. As we're BizTalk and integration folks, you're comfortable with the idea of vetter, right? So validate, extract, transform, and route. Right? You can do the same thing with real-time data. So as the data is coming through, this is a very typical pattern where you have a streaming pipeline. And in that streaming pipeline, you have different stages along that pipeline. So you ingest all the data, then you push it and you capture it into ADLS, a data lake. Or even better, you capture it directly into ADX, Azure Data Explorer, where it gets indexed right away. And you can do analysis on things that have happened from now to the past and do really fast queries against that data. Decode and validate. Stream Analytics has integration with the schema registry, so then we can validate that the right messages are coming in, so you don't get garbage messages coming in. And you want to be able to do reference data so that you can enhance that data as it goes through the system. And then enrich and route. As you talked about these global event meshes, you want to make sure that it's getting to the place where you need to, in the shape that you want, and only the data that it needs to see into those places. And then finally, you get real-time views of that data. You want to materialize that view, or you want to be able to create Power BI reports on that data, and you can get these real-time reports. And then the other path, if you want to be able to do Lakehouse and do analytics on that data, you pass it through, and then we can automatically transform that to Delta Lake or Parquet, so then your systems can go work on that in the medallion formats. We even save you a couple steps. So if you're used to medallion architectures where you go bronze, silver, and gold, we may save you a copy because instead of going right to bronze, you can go to silver or gold because we've done all that processing on the fly, therefore saving you extra steps in post-transformation or storage. One of the things that you'll see is that we're realizing that customers really need to have streaming and not just ingestion or processing, but really streaming. So these two things are coming together, so we're making it easier for you as you use your event hubs to then go use Azure Stream Analytics. And we've created these cards so that you can go right from your event hub and have things like, hey, I want to be able to push it to a data set for Power BI, or I want to convert it into a Delta Lake in ADLS, or I want to create a pipeline and add reference data to an event hub. I want to push it and filter it before it goes to Custo, to ADX. So we have all these things that are integrated. And one of the things that came out this week is a more direct path to Custo as well. So if you need that raw data in Custo, you can do that as well. And then finally, introducing Microsoft Fabric. So Microsoft Fabric was just announced at Build, and it's really that data platform where it combines Azure Data Factory, the new Synapse, the existing Power BI, and a new thing called the Data Activator, and into all a single platform. Now, this is not just some facade on top of a bunch of different products. It's really a new platform where all these things have come together. It's relying on one lake, so it's one storage with a open standard format, so everything's in Delta Lake format, so you write it once, and then all the workloads work off of that single copy of the data. One lake could also create virtual links to data that's not even in that one lake. You can talk to a blob storage or even to AWS S3, but it looks like you're talking to one lake. And so they make all that very easy to configure and use. But with that, we're really empowering businesses as you think about now SaaSification of these capabilities, that now you don't have to think about, hey, how do I integrate these two different entities together? I got to copy it to someplace else so my notebook can go work on it, or I want to be able to look at it through a Power BI. So now you don't need to create a data set because it does direct link right into that one lake. Why is this important? Because we've also introduced event streams into that. So now event streams is the combination of Stream Analytics and Event Hubs as a single concept and offering, so that it simplifies how you look at streaming, getting data into your Microsoft Fabric, so then you can do your analytics on those streams. I'm not going to say too much more about it now because Ajeta is going to go into it. But it's very cool. We're going to have no-code designers and abilities to get the scale that you need, auto-scaled and single price, all based on that platform fabric. Okay, now I'm going to hand it off to Ajeta to get into Stream Analytics.
Hello, everyone. So how many of you have heard about Azure Stream Analytics or used? Okay, 50%. Okay, let's deep dive a little bit about what is Azure Stream Analytics, what kind of solution patterns it offers. So as you see here, ASA basically unlocks various real-time processing scenarios and use cases from different industries. So see on the left side, you have real-time data coming in from IoT devices, or maybe some logs and files from web applications or weather applications. Customers ingest that real-time data into Azure through either Azure IoT Hub or Azure Event Hub, maybe through Kafka as well, and Data Lake Blob. And how you analyze that real-time data is through Azure Stream Analytics. So Azure Stream Analytics helps you to analyze this streaming real-time data while the data is in motion. Now, if you want, you can also enrich or join that data with some metadata, let's say a reference data from, let's say, SQL or Blob, or you can also bring in your ML models. And Azure Stream Analytics takes that data from Event Hub, IoT Hub, or Blob, analyze it, process it, transforms it, and then sends it to various destinations that you see on the right side, and sends it to various other services in Azure. So let's say if you want to filter or route your data, you can send to Event Hub, Service Bus, Cosmos DB. Or if you want to build real-time dashboards, you can send your data from ASA to Power BI. Or if you want to do some warehousing scenario, then you can send it to Synapse, SQL DB. Or you want to do some storage or archive and use it for later, then you can send it to Blob or Data Lake Gen 2. Or if you want to do some indexing on top of that, you can send it to Kusto, or sometimes also known as Azure Data Explorer. And if you want to build some dynamic applications on top of your real-time data, then you can send it to Azure Functions or Logic Apps or SignalR. So this gives you a very good overview of what Azure Stream Analytics is capable of, taking the data from sources and sends it to various destinations based on your scenario. So some key differentiators. In Azure Stream Analytics, it's very easy to be productive. What I mean by that is either you can write SQL code, which is extendable with JavaScript or C#, or there's also a no-code editor, using which you do not have to write SQL. You can just plug into your Event Hub or IoT Hub very easily, transform it, and send it to various destinations. And I'll show you a demo of that shortly. Azure Stream Analytics plugs in with 15 plus Azure services, and you can plug into those services without writing any code. You can just integrate and select your source, destination, integrate, and be done with it. We also offer VS Code extension. So some customers, they like to use Azure Portal, whereas other customers, they like to use VS Code. So it gives you better tooling, debugging experience as well. You can run your logic in cloud, which means either you can run your Azure Stream Analytics in multi-tenant scenario or in dedicated cluster. And you can also integrate with, as I said, Azure ML. So if you want to bring in your machine learning models, enrich your data, or you want to use, let's say, geospatial functions. We have in Azure Stream Analytics in your SQL, you can bring in geospatial functions and transform your data based on your scenario. We also have job parallelism indicator. What that means is in your job, you can see how the data is flowing from different partitions in Event Hub to ASA, which partition is overloaded, which partition needs to be fixed, and accordingly you can manually configure your query and improve your query performance. Also, we offer no data loss, and then it's only once processing guarantee. And you can also have security in Azure Stream Analytics through private endpoints. All right, going over some announcements that we did recently. So if you want to use Azure Stream Analytics, I know some people said they use right now, we are going to announce a new pricing model on July 1st. So in that new pricing model, you will get up to 80% of discounts based on how you grow your usage on ASA. Right now, the SU model, we got feedback, it's not very clear, but now going forward, we'll make the SUs very linear, and it's going to be super easy for you to understand how you're using your ASA jobs and how higher discounts you can get from this new pricing model. We also announced virtual network integration, which is in public preview. So today, if those who have used or heard ASA, VNet was only available in dedicated clusters, but going forward, in your Azure Stream Analytics jobs, you can use it inside your own virtual network. So you can have your full network isolation by deploying that dedicated instance of ASA jobs in your virtual network. We also announced native support for Kafka input and output. So if you have your data in Kafka and you want to get it in Azure and process it directly in ASA, then in ASA itself, you can configure your Kafka input, source and destination, and it makes it super easy for you to ingest data from Kafka clusters natively to ASA jobs. We also announced Event Hub schema registry integration. So using this, you can fetch schema information from schema registry and deserialize your data from Event Hub inputs. Also job simulation. As I said, you can, while you're writing the query, you can fine tune how much resources to assign, if your job is parallel or not. You can simulate the job topology and then deploy it before looking at it. All right, so moving forward and going into Fabric again. I know Kevin talked about it, but if any one of you have heard about Fabric before? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 5 people, 6. Okay, so Fabric is, it's like Office for data. So like Office has Word or PowerPoint, Excel, etc. Similarly, in Fabric, it's a unified data platform where you will see all these SaaS versions of the services coming together. So like data factory, data engineering, data science. So based on your persona and needs, then you can go and use any workload in Fabric. And OneLake is like OneDrive for your data. So it's a SaaS version of data lake. So I'm going to talk about Synapse Real-time Analytics. That's where event stream comes in. So give me just 2 more minutes, and then I'll dive into demo. I know some of you are waiting for demo. So before demo, let's talk about what is event stream in real-time analytics. So on the left side, you see real-time data sources. So your data might be in IoT Hub, Event Hub, SQL CDC, Kafka, and then you want to get it into Fabric destinations. Maybe you want to get into Lakehouse, or probably in CustoDB, or sometimes people know it as Azure Data Explorer. So how do you do that? Is through Event Stream. So Event Stream essentially is a combination of Event Hub, Azure Event Hub, and Azure Stream Analytics. Combine it together, and we have brought it into Fabric. It's a SaaS version. And it's one stop to capture, transform, and route your real-time event data from all these sources that you see on the left side to the Fabric destinations. And you do that not by writing SQL, but instead using a no-code editor. So I'll show you a demo. Let's talk about the scenario for which I'm going to show you the demo. So let's say you have your real-time data in Azure Event Hub. And for my demo, I have a toll booth data. So it's basically data coming in from different tolls for different cars, and how you can get that into Microsoft Fabric, which was recently announced. So you get that using Fabric Event Stream. So ingestion and routing is done through that. And you store in KQL database. After that, you can do indexing, and you can do more queries on top of that. And inside Fabric itself, you can also build a Power BI real-time report as well. So let's look into the demo. Right. So this is your Azure Event Hub instance, and it has data coming in. Oh, sorry. All right. So this is Azure Event Hub, and you can see there's data coming in real time. So you go into Fabric. It's fabric.microsoft.com. It looks something like this. As I said, there's a SaaS version of all these services coming in on Fabric. You go into your workspace and go into Real-Time Analytics and create Event Stream. Oops. So you can give it a name and create it. So I have an event stream created already. Now, when that event stream is created, you land into this no-code experience where you see this is the event stream, which I said was a combination of embedded Event Hub and Azure Stream Analytics. And you have various sources and destinations to choose from. So here you can see we have sample data, Azure Event Hubs, custom app, and in this destinations we have custom app, Lakehouse, KQL database. So let's connect this event stream to my Azure Event Hub that I just showed you. And you have to create a cloud connection because Fabric is based in Power BI, and you have to make a connection to your Event Hub, which is in Azure. So I created a cloud connection already. I just select that. I know that my data format is JSON, so I can select that. And then I just select existing consumer group, or you can create a new one. So let's say I select this one, and I give it a name. All right. So as you can see, immediately your source is created for this event stream. And if I go into data preview, I can see that data is already coming in now. It just took me, 5 seconds? So you can see there's data coming about car model, state, toll amount, etc. Now let's go and add a new destination. So I'll add a KQL database because I want to build a quick Power BI dashboard. So I'll select my workspace and a KQL database, which is this one. I have already created one in my workspace, and I give this a name. Let's say KQL destination. Right. So let's create a new table in my database that I just selected, and okay, I confirm that this is the source, And in just a second, I'll reach onto the schema tab. So it's essentially this wizard helps you to ingest your data from that event hub by confirming that this is the destination table, the source, and the schema. All right. Thank you. It's working. All right. So you can see that it's a JSON file. It's an array. So first of all, let me select the correct data format. And since there is some nesting, so let me select 2 nesting levels. So it's super easy. I did not have to do anything to parse that array. Just I specify the nesting levels. All right. So in just a few minutes, maybe because the internet is slow, but I was able to create this source to destination, and there's event stream in the middle. Let's go to data preview. Okay, let's give it 1 more minute. But let me show you a few more things. While you have this event hub source, there is data preview. You can also see data insights here. So like you can see how your data is coming in. There was no data, and then suddenly there is so much data coming in. And you can see if there are any delays or any errors here. You can also see if there are any issues that are happening here. So it gives a very end-to-end view of how the data is flowing from my source to event stream to my destination. All right. It's OK. I already have a KQL database. And this is the table that I just created this morning. And you can see that, let me refresh it, so that you can see that the latest data starts flowing in my KQL. Right, so you can see last ingestion was today this minute. And this one is also created, by the way, if anyone wants to see. This I just created, and it has already started ingesting data as well. And you can see that the data is coming as is from Event Hub to KQL through Event Stream. Now, I want to build Power BI report on top of that. So let's try doing that. So I go to Power BI, and let's try to create a report. Actually, before that, let me show you how I can query the data. So I go here, I say I want to just query and show top 100 records just to make sure that data is landing in my Kusto or KQL database, and it's already landing. To build a Power BI report, let me write a custom query. So what this query does is it basically tells me in last 2 hours how much toll amount is paid by these different cars in these different states. And since I want to build a Power BI report, I just go here, I say I want to build Power BI report, and just drag and drop to build a quick report. Right. I'll just show you a few things that we can do here. OK, so there are some widgets available for you. You just drag and drop. And then let me try to make a pie chart as well. And I'll add some probably right. And just 2 clicks. And here, I can say if I want anything other latest. But since I want my latency to be as low as, let's say, few seconds, I go into page refresh. I say, turn it on. and I just want 1 second of latency, because some customers say they want really low latency dashboards, maybe 2. All right, and let's publish this. Okay, so here, as you can see, the date is refreshing, my pie chart is refreshing. I made another sophisticated little bit of report. So here, what I did is I think I gave a 2 or 4 second latency, and my time keeps refreshing, my pie chart showing how much of total amount is collected by each state, that's refreshing, and I can also see a total amount by each state, car model, etc. So this demo was basically to show you how it was so easy to get my data into event KQL in Fabric through Azure Event Hubs. And I had to write 0 code to build this Power BI dashboard from end to end. Now let me jump on to the other scenario quickly. All right, so this is the other scenario where I will use the same Event Hub, and it's going to ingest, I'm going to ingest and transform my data in Event Stream and get that into Lakehouse. So as I said, Lakehouse was like OneDrive for your data in Fabric. And then on top of that, if you want, you can run SQL, Python, notebooks as well. So let's jump into that. All right. So let's use that one that I just created, where it has Event Hub source already created. And I will add one more destination, which is Lakehouse. So I select my workspace, and I select my Lakehouse, and I give a name to my table, which is going to be delta format of table, and then the data format of table, the data format that's coming in. And I give this a Lakehouse destination. Now, for KQL, I did not do any transformation. But for Lakehouse, I want to do transformation because there's just so much data coming in from the toll booth. So I will show you a very simple one. We are running short on time. But let's say I only want to see, I want to do filtering, and maybe I also want to do group by. So in this editor, as you can see, there are various operations or transformations given to you. If you were to write these in Azure Stream Analytics or somewhere else, you'll have to write code. But here, in just simple drag and drop, I'm able to create this end-to-end transformation. And let me show you how easily I can specify those conditions as well. OK. So this is the data that's coming in. And let's say I want to just filter on a specific car model. Which ones do you like? Any picks? Honda. Volvo? Volvo? OK. I'll go with that.
Yes, thank you. You like Chinese cars?
All right, so I'll say make equals Volvo. OK, that's data for you. All Volvo cars data. Now let's do some group by. I want to do some aggregation. So let me add some count, because I just want to see how many Volvo cars are passing by a state every 5 seconds. So I'll do a count of all those cars, and I want to specify that 5-second window. So for that, I'm going to select state, oh, this one, state, tumbling window 5 seconds, and that's it. Let's see what's happening. All right, so here are all the Volvo cars for you, and they're passing by all these states in last 5 seconds. So, and I'm sending this data to Lakehouse. by these columns. And I save it. All right. So while it's creating that destination, what it's doing is creating a table in Delta format, and the 3 columns that were coming in, they are going to be saved in that lakehouse. So let's go to that lakehouse, and this is the table, and you can see that there are state, cars, window time, and if you want, you can create new Power BI data set on top of this, or you can create a new notebook as well. And if you go to new notebook, there you can run your Python scripts or SQL on the table that just landed in Lakehouse. I want to show you one last scenario. So going back to this. Here, there's also sample data as a source where you can play around with some sample data just to see how data flows. There's also custom app. So this essentially creates an endpoint. And then you can get data from your, let's say, logic apps or Kafka or AMQP client, and then get that data into event stream. So you just give it a name. Let's say I say custom app source. When I do that, it's going to show me a bunch of connection strings. Essentially, it's just creating an endpoint for you to make sure that your event stream is able to talk to any applications outside of Fabric. Right. And the second one is here as destination. You can also create a custom app again. So when you do that, this creates a consumer group. So let me create a custom app destination as well. Right. So as you can see, there's a consumer group created. So you can then use this application to talk to your any application like Logic Apps, Kafka, AMQP outside of event stream, and then they can talk to each other very easily through this consumer group. All right, moving on to our slides. So what is event stream in a nutshell? It's just one stop to capture, transform, and route your real-time event data to destinations in Microsoft Fabric with a no-code experience. So it's a centralized place where you can see how your data is flowing from source to destination. You can do capturing, transforming, routing, and it's a scalable infrastructure. So you do not have to worry about scaling your resources up and down like in Azure. In Fabric, it's taken care of you. It's taken care for you. You can ingest from streaming sources. As I said, you can have like custom producers producing your data. Maybe your data is in AMQP or Kafka client, or it's in Logic Apps or functions. So you can use the custom source and then connect to those streaming sources. Or you can connect to event hubs, and we are also bringing in IoT Hub to connect to this event stream quickly. There's also sample data. We have 2 sets of sample data. One is yellow taxi, one is stock data. If you do not have Azure Event Hub and you just want to play with how event stream works, you can use sample data as well. The other is no-code experience. As you saw, I wrote no code, except for when I wanted to query my data when it landed in KQL. But before that, I had to write no code. So it's a no-code experience. It was super simple. You could see data flowing in, and you could also see the metrics, like if there are any issues or the data is late, is there any watermark delay. So it was very familiar and intuitive for you to use, and end-to-end data visibility was there as well. You can route to different Trident Fabric destinations as well. So as I showed you, KQL database, if you want to do indexing, you can build Power BI report. Then you can use that destination. Or you can use Lakehouse for DW analysis. So as I showed you Lakehouse, I did transformation. There were a bunch of transformations available for you, and you did not have to write code. You can use no-code editor. Also custom consumers, so using the custom app destinations. Then you can make your event stream talk to AMQP, Kafka, or your logic apps or functions outside of Fabric. And there are more sources and destinations coming. Hope you all enjoyed the demo, and back to Kevin.
All right. Thank you, Ajeta. And thank you all. So one of the things that, if you want to try out what Ajeta just demoed, you can go to fabric.microsoft.com and try that out yourself. If you want to contact us, here are the great places to contact us. But as you're thinking about integration, this is an integration conference, really start thinking about your data in real time, right? Don't think about data that's moving in the past. Think about the here and now and how you can get business value and opportunity of that data that's coming in real time. And I think that's it. Thank you very much. Let's go have some beers.